Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Starcraft 2 replay cast. Today it's a 1v1 on Ruins of Seras between our red Terran player, Dayshii, and our blue Zerg player, Nerchio. And we're going to speed this on up to the 2-minute point of the game, when everything starts to get pretty good. Now, two really excellent players here, two very high-level Grandmaster players, so this play should be pretty good. And, well, to be totally honest, most of my casts are all Grandmasters, but Dayshii and Nerchio, a couple favorites of mine. And the spawn is going to be directly on top of each other. Both players going for a fast expand, and this Marine is screwed. Now, the Zergling's going to go after the SCV here, and that's going to slow him down a little bit. Going to slow down the production of this command center. The CV going to get back on to repairing, but might have been a little too early. He may actually lose that SCV because of that. No, barely. 10 health left on the SCV. And Zerg now is expansion up and running strong, much faster than the Terran. However, he does have those mules to make up for that. Reaper out in the field here. We have Reactor, Tech Lab, Starport. So a 1-1-1 build. And I always used to watch Husky Starcraft way back in the day when Starcraft 2 first came out. And it's very unfortunate that he retired and no longer cast, because his casts were absolutely amazing. Everybody loved them. And he used to call the 1-1-1 build the Destiny Cloud Fist build. Why? I still don't even really know. I don't get it. I guess it looked like a fist or something. I'm not sure. But that's what it was called back in the day. But I always just refer to it as the 1-1-1 build. 1 Rex, 1 Starport, 1 Factory. D8 charge there to juke out those Zerglings just a little bit, but they don't take the bait. And now we have 1 Reaper and 2 Hellions here. Reaper still healing up, nearly full health, but 2 Queens going to be a little bit too much for that group of units. Gonna have to pull back just a little bit. Of Roach War now coming up here. Has Cloaking Field researching and a Banshee on the way. Stimpack as well. And Spore Crawlers coming up. So that 6 cent Spore Crawlers now coming up here. And just 1 at the main base. I don't see any at the expansions here. So the expansions are vulnerable for now, but you can get a Spore Crawler up pretty quickly in the event you spy those Banshees. So the Banshee is going to be moving out here shortly. Where is the Banshee? No, there it goes. But it moves right past the Overlord, though. So the Overlord did see that. So he's going to be more than ready for these Banshees here. However, some Hellions on the right side going to cause some issues, and going to torch the larvae there a little bit. Could probably torch down that Spore Crawler as it's being created. It might take a little while, but decides to get out of there so he doesn't lose any of those Hellions for now. Meanwhile, the Banshee up here trying to poke into the base, and he might be able to do a little bit of damage, but that Spore Crawler is in a pretty good spot there. And with the help of the Queen, going to be able to push that away. So he's kind of trying to distract with that Banshee and then use those Hellions. However, now in the base, the Zerglings have made it to the Terran base. And 3 Marines here should be able to clean this up. We're going to lose some SCVs in the process. And lost 1 or 2 there. Didn't see too many killed. So not too big of a deal there. But the Hellions had to go all the way back to the base. 2 engineering bays coming up here for the Terran so he can double expand. Going to bring up a Spore Crawler to the edge here. And a couple Roaches here as well for the Zerg. And I'm going to try and torch some of these Roaches, but not going to work too well against that armored armor of the Roaches, if you will. Banshees maybe are moving in and are now cloaked and killing some of these drones. Very nice. Killed some drones in transit there. Going to kill some drones at the fuel. And getting a lot of kills here, actually. 5 kills and 2 kills there. 6 kills. So a total of 8 drones, I think, on those Banshees. So not too bad there. That's quite a bit of funds. What is that? 400 funds. Math is hard, I guess. 400 in minerals lost there. So not too bad for a Zerg to replace. But your larvae are precious. Your larvae time is life. Larvae time is love. Larvae time is life. Banshees here going to get themselves an easy roach kill there. So far doing quite well with these Banshees. I figured they wouldn't do nearly as well because of those Spore Crawlers were already up, and that Overlord spotted the Banshees, so that means they were just able to easily respond to them. The scan there takes out a couple Creep Tumors, and we'll need another scan here. Indeed, it's going to scan again and take out some additional Creep Tumors, and should have scanned a little bit lower than that. Should have scanned mid-point here, and it would have covered everything around there, and could have got the Creep Tumor here as well. That would have been pretty nice to get that, but there's already the hatchery there, and once that's up, that spread a little creep. And now 2 medevacs here coming in, and I'm going to pour in right into the edge of the base, but there's a lot of Mutalisks and Roaches here. It's going to be way too much here for these Marines. They're just going to have to pick right back up and go to a different place. No, he's going to actually get some kills here. Those Roaches moved away, surprisingly, and it allowed him to get a few extra kills in. But the Banshees, the Mutas are here, and well, the Mutas are going to go right after the Banshees, and unable to cloak with that Overseer. Well, it could cloak, but not going to happen. And going to drop off some Marines here to protect the medevacs a little bit here from those chasing Mutalisks. And so a pretty excellent push there. I thought that was going to get pushed out very, very quickly, but that is Dayshii and Nerchio, both very, very high-level players, so both struggling against each other here. And there was a lot of Roaches there, but he split half of those Roaches. They were going around. I think he was going to try and defend this portion of the base with that other half, but the problem is that he stayed up at the top, and that allowed him to get a good few extra kills in. Now going to be moving out here with a big old ground force of Hellbats and Marines, part of every healthy Terran breakfast, and the Mutalisks try to get a couple kills there. Got 1 Marine, 1 poor sap there, and going to fly above all these Marines, and that wasn't a good idea. I'm not sure why that was a chosen task to do with those Mutalisks. Wasn't very good at all. There is a missile turret here, and Mutalisks going to go after the missile turret. It looks like he's just sacking those Mutalisks. Now, Ravagers and Roaches going after the pile here. Hellbats in the front, but the Hellbat's not going to be very effective here against all of this cluster. It's going to be able to tank just a little bit, but there isn't too many Zerglings for them to really torch up. But going to go after the Roaches here, going to use them to tank a little bit. And Marines pushing in, trying to juke out that bile. And takes out a lot of these Roaches here. And now the Marauders are in play and going after. We have some Changelings here trying to juke out the Terran. Look, there's extra Marines here. And Marauders doing work here on these Roaches, getting healed up. And Roaches are running back here. Going to use an Infestor here to try and hit some of these units, but now there's just not enough units to really justify hitting it with Fungal Growth. And now just pouring here with the rally point. Some units moving on down. Start pumping out even more Infestors and Roaches, Zerg missile attacks. We have some Liberators on the way and Siege Tanks from the Terran. Now level 2 weapons is nearly completed here, and that's going to be a big advantage here. He's going to have 1 advantage over his opponent. Drop in the main base and gets hit by a Fungal Growth. Very nice Fungal Growth there. That was a justifiable Fungal Growth, but earlier with just 4 or 5 Marines and or Marauders there, wasn't really enough to justify the energy cost of that. And now over here, some Roaches. Looks like they're going to try and take the long way around, trying to get to the Terran base, force him back to his base, and micro around a little bit. But I don't think that's going to really work too well, as the majority of his units are already up here. A couple Liberators as well that could turn on defense and start torching some of these Roaches. They're going to get the Wrath here, and there they go. Loses a bunch of them. And 4 Liberators on the field now, and moving on out. Has a Ghost Academy on the way as well. And Terran level 3 weapons on the way. Not quite the armor just yet. Can't quite afford that. And Zerg missile attacks level 2 on the way, but still no level 2 armor. So the Terran very much more upgraded than his opponent here. Sets up a tank here, going to set up another tank there, and tons of defensive circles of these Liberators going down and just going to start torching and lasering up some of these units here. Lasered up that Infestor there pretty good. And now going to get out of defensive mode and going to go back, going to reposition here. And these Liberators doing wonders here. Now these Roaches under all these Liberators doing big damage. And they're getting inside the circle a little bit too much. And doesn't really have much of a choice. And now the expansion will go down. Nerchio is defeated, and that Banshee play in the beginning, taking out all those drones, really helped them a lot. The drop up here took out quite a bit of units as well, more than I thought it would. There was plenty of units to really thwart that push off, but he had split some to take him down here just in case he had actually picked up and then just dropped right here. But turns out he didn't actually pick him up because he realized that those Roaches, half those Roaches went down there, so he figured he would just stay up here, kill some Roaches, and then these Liberators just took the cake here. 7 kills, 6 kills, 5 and 7 on those Liberators in just about a minute of battle time, and it just took out way too many of those troops there, and with the help of a couple siege tanks as well, we're doing work. And well played by Dayshii, and I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I'll see you guys next time.